Good evening. I'd like to share some drone footage from the Dickinson Bayou out to Galveston Bay. That's the boat ramp underneath Old 146 or 146. And then we're looking out to Galveston Bay. We're going to cover all of this in the next 30 minutes of drone footage. I've never fished here. I am a kayak fisherman and I enjoy fishing very, very much in the shallows. A lot up in the marsh, sight fishing for redfish. And I've been told out there in the bay around those islands was very, very good for sight fishing. So I thought that I would fly the drone out there and take a look. Now this is late in December 28th, I believe. And the water is out. It's about 2 foot lower than usual because of the northern. But you can still see a lot of the features. Now, it is a very industrial environment at this point. There's a lot of barges, and that kind of robs a little bit from the beauty. But once you make it out there to the bay, it looks like it just would be a beautiful, beautiful place to fish. So we're going to take the next 30 minutes and we're just going to kind of go through this and let you see what I saw. This may be helpful, especially knowing where the channels are. There's a lot of flats, and again, the water was about 2 foot down, so I really don't know how deep it was. But this looks like it would be some excellent, excellent sight fishing at the right time of the year. So I just wanted to share this with you. I hope you enjoy it. We'll begin to make our way back toward the bridge. We'll be out in the bay in just a little while, but I want you to see some of the inlets that are there, and look back at the shoreline. You can see the industry that's there. But along that shoreline there seems to be some inlets. And as we work backwards, the drone's working backwards to stay out of the sun, you can see again the drop-offs, a little bit of the inlets, the channels right through there. And again, we'll be out in the bay in just a little while, but you can see this as we work our way back toward the bridge. This is looking back over the bridge up Dickinson Bayou, and we're going to make our way back up in there so that we can see that just a little bit more in just a few minutes. But you can see the water and how clear it is, and once again, one of the northers had blown through and the water had settled, and it was very, very low, very, very clear. And here we are kind of backing our way up the bayou, and the reason we back our way up here is so that you don't see the glare on the water, and you can see down into the water just a little bit more. Now, I saw a shrimp boat and another boat come up through there, and you'll see that in just a little while. So I do know that you can get your boats up through there, and that's looking back up the bayou, and we'll go up in there just a little while. Now at this point, I've relocated further toward the bay, down in the industrial area, and we're looking at some of the inlets that are there. Right as you go toward the bay, off to the left is this slough, and you can see out to the islands. We're right at the very mouth as it goes into the bay, and you can see this as we spin the drone around. Gives you a little bit of a perspective of everything that we're going to be looking at. There's a little bit of an inlet that comes on the leeward side of that island, and it looks like probably when the water is higher that it would be something that may be fishable, especially up into the marsh. And again, the water was down some 2 foot, but we're going to take a look at it as we fly over it just to give us an idea of what is there. So we'll flip the drone around in just a few minutes and get the glare away as we take a look. Here we are making our way out into the bay, and we're going to take a look at that shoreline before we go out to the islands. I don't know how deep some of the channels are here. Again, I've never fished this. I've not been out in the boat or the kayak to check this out, but there seems to be a few reefs that are out here, some oyster that's out there around the islands. There seems to be some channels that move up and down the coastline, and again, we're working our way toward the mouth of Moses Lake down there at the spillway, but this is right in there along the coastline, and you can see how the water drops off, and you can see how that would be very advantageous to know where that is. And again, that's going across the channel to the other coastline. Now this was the part of the video that I was most anxious to look closely at as we moved out toward these two little man-made islands. There's two man-made islands, and then there's some reefs that are out in front of it. You can see the flats that are there. There's even looks like some PVC pipes that have marked that. And you're going to take a closer look at there. Right at the top of the screen, there's a small little oyster reef. And it looks like it would probably be submerged on a normal tide. But to the left and right in front of that reef, you're going to see a lot of oyster. Now, I don't know whether that's seagrass or whether that's oyster or whether that's just some sort of a optical illusion. I truly do not know. But I do hope to get out there in the next few weeks and begin to learn this a little bit more. It seems like it would be very, very beneficial because there's so many different things. Right in front of that very small island, you see that very dark place. That's bound to be oyster shell up in there. And you see those PVC pipes, that's bound to be marking maybe some oyster shell, or maybe that's just where the drop-off is. But as we make our way around, you can see the depth of this probably is less than a foot on this day. And again, the water's down about 2.5 foot with the north winds that were blowing through. That just looks fishy, doesn't it? That just looks fishy. And that's before we get to those two man-made islands. You can see those oyster reefs right in front of that small island. And again, I don't know whether that would be submerged on a normal tide or not. But man, those flats around there with that oyster. And here we are coming into the two man-made islands. What I do is I go around the outside of these so that we can have a good understanding of exactly what's happening. It looks like there's an outgoing tide and it pulls the sand water out of the inlet and then floats it around the outside of the island. I don't know how deep that is right there, that riprap. But you can see that the water's a good 2 foot down. That's bound to be fishy. There's some dark that's out there on the outside of the islands. And again, I don't know whether that is just a drop off, whether that's oyster, whether that's just a depth change. Then we come to the second island that has this little finger. That little swirl looks super cool. I can't wait to fish this. By the way, if any of you have experience fishing this, please send me an email, drmarkred@gmail.com, drmarkred@gmail.com, and let me know when you fished it, what you caught, how you caught it. Give me your secrets. Come on, give me your secrets. I won't tell anybody but everybody. By the way, I also flew the drone over the scrub brush there to see if anything was alive. I didn't put that footage on here, but I didn't see anything that was there. I don't know the depth of the water around this, but you can see that there's a little bit of a drop off. And again, we're making our way toward the Moses Lake gate. Now we're going to kind of turn around and come back as we work our way over the edge of the island. I don't know when these islands were made. I don't know the history of these islands. Maybe somebody can tell me and we can inform others, but they seem like they've been there for a good long time. They look like they would be super good at holding fish under different conditions. Now I'm assuming that under a normal tide, or at least a high tide, you're going to see a lot of that little lagoon filled up. Looks like there's a lot of oyster that's on the outside of that little riprap. And then it looks like this lagoon would fill up. It's still going to be somewhat shallow. It may be difficult to get into with all that oyster, but still there's a lagoon there, and probably under a normal tide or a high tide, that will be accessible, but you can see how far down that is right now. I'm not even for sure that this would be out of the water on a normal tide. We're coming up on the back of that first island. Man, watching this, I can't wait to get my kayak out there. That just looks like there's bound to be some fish in there. Also, again, this looks like under a normal tide that there would be water in there. That looks super shallow. Looks like there may be a little bit of a channel through the middle of it. And again, if you've ever fished this, please educate me. Educate me. I need all the education I can get. It looks like at the mouth there's a little bit of a dip as the water comes in. Over to the right, it looks as though there may be a small channel that works its way in, a little bit shallower over to the left. And after this, I began to make my way back over toward the industry. Looks like there may be a little bit of oyster or some depth change right back in there. And again, that's going back over that small little island as we go back toward. Look at all the dark. That's bound to be oyster back in there. Deeper water off to the right. That's bound to hold fish, guys. Well, listen, I hope that you've enjoyed this. It's long. There's a lot of footage here, but I'd rather give you too much than not enough. And again, if there's anything that we can do, let us know. I hope you've enjoyed this. Happy fishing. Stay safe. Stay warm. And enjoy this. Let me know what you think in the comments.